Hello everyone. So, have you ever wondered what actually makes something intelligent? So, when we hear the word intelligence, we usually think about someone who is smart. But intelligence is much more than simply knowing the facts. An intelligent system can learn from information, remember what it has learned, reason through the problems, adapt when situations change, and make decisions. So, now here is something interesting about that. Humans can do all of these things. Modern AI can also perform many of these functions. So, naturally, a question comes to mind: if both humans and AI can learn, remember, and solve the problems, are they really intelligent in the same way? The answer is yes and no. They may produce similar results, but the way they reach those results is completely different. So let's start with the most sophisticated intelligence we know, that is human brain. So look at your brain. So your brain is one of the most complex structures in the known universe. It contains roughly 86 billion neurons, and each neuron communicates with thousands of other through tiny connections called synapses. Every second, billions of electrical and chemical signals travel through these networks. But the brain doesn't work alone. It constantly receives the information from your eyes, ears, skin, nose, and every interaction you have with this world. Imagine touching a hot stove. Your senses immediately detect the heat. Electrical signals travel through your nervous system to your brain. Your brain processes that information, stores the experience in the memory, and the next time you see a hot stove, you will instinctively avoid touching it. That's how humans learn from the experience. So not simply by storing information, but by experiencing, especially the world. Now let's look at AI. So, unlike humans, AI has no eyes, no ears, and no life experiences. Instead, it learns from the data. That data can include the books, research papers, websites, computer code, images, audio, and video. So, for example, for the language models like ChatGPT, the first step is converting words into the mathematical representations that are called tokens. Those tokens are processed by a neural network built on a transformer architecture. Inside the model, an attention mechanism determines which parts of the input are most important. The network processes this information through many layers before predicting the next word or more generally the most likely output. So while the human brain learns through the experience, AI learns by finding the statistical patterns in the massive amounts of the data. Humans learn A human learning is a lifelong journey. Think about your own life. As a baby, you learn by observing and exploring. As a child, you learn through playing and curiosity. As a teenager, school, friendships, and mistakes shaped how you think. As an adult, your experiences continue to change your understanding of the world. Notice something important here. Humans don't just memorize the information, we connect knowledge with emotions, culture, language, relationships, and personal experiences. Every success teaches us something, every failure teaches us something too. That's why no two people think exactly the same way. AI follows a very different learning process. it begins with enormous amounts of training data. The model makes a prediction. That prediction is compared with the correct answer. The difference between them is called the loss or the simply the error. Using an algorithm called the back propagation, the model adjusts billions of internal parameters known as weights. Then it repeats the entire process again and again, millions or even billions of times. Over the time, those tiny improvements accumulate, and the model becomes much better at recognizing the patterns and making accurate predictions. So unlike humans, AI doesn't learn through experience. It learns by continuously reducing its mistakes during the training. At first, at the first glance, the brain and AI seem surprisingly similar. Both have the networks, both learn, both store the information. But if we look closer, their building blocks are completely different. The human brain uses the biological neurons connected by the synapses. AI uses artificial neurons connected by the mathematical weights. Humans learn from the experiences. AI learns from the data sets. The brain communicates using the electrical and chemical signals, while on the other hand, AI performs mathematical computations inside the computer hardware. In other words, AI was inspired by the brain, but it is not a digital copy of the brain. So, even with those differences, there are some remarkable similarities. Both humans and AI can learn, can remember the information, can recognize the pattern, and can reason through certain problems. Both make decisions based on the information available to them. These shared abilities are exactly why we call AI artificial intelligence. But having similar abilities doesn't mean they work in the same way, and that's where the biggest differences appear. So human intelligence human intelligence is biological. It's shaped by the emotions, experience, values, and consciousness. When you make a decision, you are influenced by the memories, culture, empathy, and even your current mood. AI doesn't have any of those. It doesn't feel happiness for or fear. It doesn't have personal goals or the life experiences. Instead, it relies on computation, probability, and statistical relationships learned from the data. This is why AI can sometimes outperform the humans in complex calculations, yet it struggles with situations that require common sense or emotional understanding. So, the real question isn't whether AI is smarter than the humans, it's that each type of intelligence has different strengths. So instead of thinking about humans versus AI, we should think about humans with AI. AI is at its best when it handles repetitive, data intensive tasks. It can analyze large data sets, summarize the information, generate the ideas, translate the languages, and assist with coding. On the other hand, humans provide the creativity, judgment, ethics, leadership, and purpose. Imagine a doctor using AI to detect the disease earlier, a researcher discovering the patterns hidden in thousands of scientific papers, an engineer designing the better products, or a student learning faster with a personalized AI tutor. The future isn't about replacing humans, it's about combining the strengths of both. So, what we have learned, the human brain develops intelligence through biology, experience, interaction with the real world, while AI develops its capabilities by learning mathematical patterns from the data. They are different forms of the intelligence. Neither is perfect, and neither makes the other obsolete. The greatest advantage will belong to those who know how to combine human creativity with the speed and analytical power of AI. Because in the end, AI doesn't replace the intelligence, it amplifies the intelligence of the person who is using it. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Upload Decoded, and join me in the next episode where we will explore one of the biggest questions in artificial intelligence. Thank you. Stay tuned and stay curious.